We are so excited about tonight. I know that this is only our third time that we've done these gold and above calls, but I feel like they have been, for us as leaders, they've been really good for us to really hone in on where are our leaders? Like, where were we when we had gone gold? And I know that there are people in here that are gold all the way to diamond, but here's the thing, our journeys, like what we're doing and the mindset and the emotional control and time management and the IPAs, they're all the same. What we did going silver is still what we're doing at diamond level. And so we just want to celebrate you guys here who have gotten to this place where you've reached 100 pay points or more, because that's a big deal. I remember Tamara telling me, Tamara Holloway, she said that in between her journey of going silver to gold, she wanted to quit like 15 times, but she didn't, because getting to gold is a really, really hard goal. But then here's the thing too, once you get to gold, it's also really hard after that. It's so incredibly worth it, but it is also challenging. And so we want this to be a place where you guys come here and you feel encouragement. You feel like you're with people who are running right alongside you. And we want you to walk away from these calls with tangible tips. We want you to have community. We want you to move forward with confidence in your business. And so everyone knows beautiful Jen Lee. Everyone loves Jen Lee. I got to spend this weekend with her, many tears, lots of prayer, lots of inspiration, and she's a real deal. And so we have asked, and she's so amazing to just jump on last minute. We've asked her to come and share something that she is amazing at, talking about imposter syndrome, because wherever you are, whether it's you going silver or you going diamond, sometimes that little grimy little thing can get into your ear. And sometimes you can listen to it and it's not truth. So Jen, I'm going to have you share for just a few minutes, and then she's going to jump off and go do another call. Thanks for being here, Jen. We love you.
Well, thank you for asking me. And it's talking about imposter syndrome. First of all, that sounds just literally terrible. It's like, imposter, you're a liar. That's what it sounds like. And it's not that at all. I think that this is something that we probably should talk about more. But I immediately started thinking about the very first opportunity meeting I went to. It was with Sonia Dudley, and she's just everything lovely and wonderful in the world. And I had brought 5 of the girls with me that had said yes to me about Plexus. I wasn't even gold yet. I was really close. And I remember sitting in the seat and being so excited and so proud, but I also felt the pressure of commitment, the pressure of wanting to serve these 5 people with me. I brought them to the event. I brought them to Plexus. I was carrying all of the load on my shoulders. And what I wasn't remembering is they're grown people. They're grown people who said yes, and they also have personal responsibility. So I let myself in the beginning of my journey feel like it was all up to me, like I had to get it right. So that was a little bit of a struggle. And then as my business grew and I got to Diamond, I got a phone call from corporate, and they said, Jennifer, we'd like to ask you to be a jewel trainer. And I thought, I have misrepresented myself. Like, I don't know why they think that in any way, shape, or form I could do that. Like, I don't have a system. Are you sure you want me to do this? And it really was a God thing, because once I started to go to these jewel training events, I learned and I grew. But I was sitting in a room with really, really smart people. And I had 2 choices. I could either be like, yeah, that's what I would, that's what I tell my team. That's what I do. Or I could be honest and say, I don't know all of this, but I want to learn it. And I chose, even though I wanted to lie, I chose to say, I really don't know this and I want to learn it. And I decided to be honest with my team, because I read from John Maxwell. I didn't read a lot of this. I mean, I just read like a little chunk. I read this one thing. It was all I needed. It said this: people will follow you and forgive you if they see that you're growing. So here you are in the beginnings of your business or at gold, wherever you are. You are not meant to have figured it out. And I don't care if you're a double diamond. A leader always has to be growing. And making mistakes is actually such a beautiful thing, because then you fail forward. You are not meant to be everything for everyone. And when I started to realize this was all imposter syndrome, it was because I didn't think I was qualified to coach someone. I didn't think I was qualified to have someone coach them on their products when I just finished eating a oatmeal cream pie. Like there were all of these things that were in my ear, like, you can't tell someone what to do and you can't, who are you? And all that is a voice that stops you from being a blessing to someone else. Just because I'm encouraging someone doesn't mean don't struggle with that myself. It's not like I figured it all out and I'm here because I'm all things wisdom. No, I'm a fellow journeyer on this hard thing called life. And I'm using Plexus as the tool to provide that support for me and bring me the community of people that I need to cheer me on. So a diamond is not meant to be a handbook. I'm not a walking encyclopedia. You're not a walking encyclopedia. You're a person that's there to meet needs, to encourage, to empower, and you are not meant to know all things. And when I read that J-Lo said that she thought for like 10 years of her singing and all of her top hits, that one day someone was going to figure out that she didn't know how to sing. And I was like, hold up. Are you serious right now? And then I read about Neil Armstrong going onto the moon, like literally on the moon, walking on the moon, first man ever. And when he went to this big science symposium and someone's like, well, what did you accomplish? He's like, I really didn't do anything. I just walked on the moon. I thought, man, people don't get it. They don't understand how powerful they are. They undermine and discount all that they've done. The fact that you have shared with friends and the fact that they've said yes and trusted you, I would shout that from the ever loving rooftops. And the more that you start to accept that you're on that journey and that you're linking arms with them, you're not, a leader is not someone that stands above and like pointing down. A leader gets in the back and has got their arms around them and says, I'm here, I've got you, I'm going to steer you in the right direction, but I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to teach you in ways because I will fail forward. So that's what imposter syndrome is. So if you in any way feel like you're ill qualified, I want you to say, I'm qualified because I'm a fellow traveler. I'm a fellow journeyer. And yes, it's okay to hold people accountable to things that they've asked you to do, even if you're struggling with that yourself. The end. Amen.
You're amazing. I love that. That's why everyone loves Jen, because she's just real and none of us have it all totally figured out, which is why I love this call, because Joanna, Jordan, and I all do things very differently. Jen does stuff differently, but we all have that common goal and we all are coachable and we are learning as we're going and we're in the trenches. We're not just sitting up here on our high horse, like having people deliver us grapes and things. Like we're in the trenches and this is what we're learning. And so we're excited to share with you. Jen, I know you have to hop off. We love you so very much. Thank you for taking time out of your busy night to come be with us. Love you, Jen. So last month, as you guys remember, we talked through retention. And the month before that, we talked through leadership, developing leaders under you. And so that's kind of the theme that we want to continue with every single month is developing leaders under you. And that's going to look different every month because it's a big umbrella, right? So tonight we're talking through a few things that I think are going to be really beautiful. I'm going to take the portion of this and I'm going to read this little quote to you guys from Sarah Robbins in the book. I know I quote this all the time, but in the book, Rock Your Network Marketing Business, it really truly is great. I encourage you to go get it. But she says, mindset and management of time and emotions are the places where people often get caught up. We have to learn how to manage our expectations, manage our mindset, manage our emotions, and our time. When we have total control over these areas, anything can be accomplished in our business. If you're on my team, I've shared this quote many times, but I want you to write those small bullet points down right now. You need to have control of your mindset. You need to have control of your emotions, and we need to have control of our time management. And that's all of us. Again, ranging from ambassador to diamond, all of us have to keep those three things in check, and you will see success in your business and you'll find fulfillment in your soul because you have those three things in check. So the first thing I'm going to talk through is time management. I want to see a raise of hands here. If you feel like you're playing that whack-a-mole game with your to-do list, you are like you're whacking one and then 4 more things pop up because it's like you just cannot keep up. You just have this crazy to-do list, and you accomplish one thing off of your brain dump thing, the Jordan's famous brain dump. You accomplish one of those things, and then 14 other things pop up, and you feel anxious. You have this defeat, you have this overwhelm, this discouragement. Well, there is a phrase in Japanese. They have a word for it, and I'm totally going to butcher it. It's called karoshi, I think, and that means death from overworking. So when we have that management of our time where we're doing that whack-a-mole and we're feeling overwhelmed and discouraged, that can create burnout. And I don't know about you guys, but I have seen that across the board with some of my leaders, with some of my sidelines, with some of my power partners, not Jordan and Joanna, but other power partners. I have seen that burnout because they feel defeated. It crushes our spirit. And so Michael Hyatt is a really great speaker, and he was saying the only kind of productivity worth pursuing isn't simply about getting more done. It's about getting the right things done with a specific goal in mind. Ultimately, hear this right now, ultimately, real productivity leads to greater freedom. So that is why we are here. That is why, for me, that is why I am doing this job, because I want freedom with my family. I want freedom with my finances. And so I have to make sure that my productivity is in line with my dreams and my goals for that freedom. He talks about 4 different types of freedom that our true productivity should enable us to enjoy. The 4 freedoms are focus, where we are able to focus on all the important work. All that important work is done. Jordan's going to talk through action-based tips in a minute, but that's what we're talking about. You have freedom to focus on the important parts of your work. You have freedom to be present. Instead of thinking about work or other things when you're with your family, you have that freedom. You have the freedom to be spontaneous, to have room on your calendar for the fun and interesting opportunities that come up. And I know at the beginning of my Plexus business, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys, that might seem like, okay, that's not where I am right now, because you might be working 24/7 with your full-time job. You might be a mom of 7 kids. You might be involved with your church and with hospitality missions, or whatever you might be doing. And then you are putting in Plexus, when you can every day. And you might feel like you don't have that freedom, but that is what you are working towards. I'm telling you, and I believe that Jordan and Joanna would say the same thing. Where we are with our time now looks way different than where we were with our time when we first started. And that is from that productivity. The last thing that the true productivity should enable us to enjoy for the freedom is the freedom to do nothing, right? Like, how many of you at this point have a little bit of guilt when you sit down and do nothing? We don't want you to have guilt. But you're working on that productivity so you can have that freedom to go and have a Saturday with your family and turn your phone off, to be able to go to Florida for the weekend and not have to worry about work. That's where your true productivity comes from. So what are some ways that you guys, we all can have for tangible ways to have that time management for that true productivity? A few things here that I have written down is the high 5, which I know all of our teams are aware of the high 5. It may be something that you need a refresher on, but basically it's the meat and potatoes of your business. And that's, again, what Jordan's going to go through. So I'm not going to talk through that a whole lot, but getting into activity. Did I even say what the theme of this call is? I don't know if I did I? The theme of this call, I'm so sorry, you guys. The theme of this call, and I hope that this is going to encourage you. The theme of this call is, I'm doing all of the things, but I'm not seeing growth. I'm not moving forward, because I know a lot of people have felt that way or feel that way or will feel that way. And so this call is giving you tangible tips, things to think about if you're in that place of, I'm doing all the things. I want you to take a look and think, am I doing these things? So the high 5s, the meat and potatoes, which again, Jordan's going to talk through in just a moment. Leaning into those small things, like the activity, the meat and the potatoes, the posting, the training, the customer care, following up. Those are the small tasks that we need to be doing over and over and over again, and that will create great reward. And I'm going to say one thing here too, that a lot of people get bored with success, because that's where success comes from. Doing the small menial tasks over and over and over again. And it may not be flashy and bright and glamorous and glittery all the time, because you're just doing the same thing over and over again. But if you have a mindset shift where you are enjoying what you're doing, where you have gratitude for what you get to do, where you are pouring into people and taking your mind off of yourself, then those menial tasks become fun. Those menial tasks are things that you stop avoiding, because you are seeing that value is being added to people that you love in your life. And so stop avoiding those small things, because that's what's going to create that success. Okay. Making a list of the things that you need to accomplish. So again, like what Jordan talks about, doing a brain dump, write out every single thing that you need to do, every single thing that's on your mind. I feel really good doing that at night before I go to bed. So that way I'm prepared when I wake up in the morning and I get my kids off to school. I don't waste an hour feeling overwhelmed about what I need to be doing next, because I have my list. Once you have that brain dump list, prioritize the things that need to get done, those things that are going to move your business and move the needle forward in your business. Stop avoiding doing the hard things and get into action. Another great thing that we can think about doing for time management is having a pretty good idea of what you want your posting to look like for that week or for that month. Having that scheduled out. I know a lot of you all do that, and I know that that has created a lot of peace in your business. Having certain days for example, Bethany Spear, who's a diamond within our company, she does every Monday as a customer care day for her. And so she knows Monday, her focus is on pouring into her customers, her ambassadors. And then some people will have, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is their messaging blitz, like reaching out and following up. So just maybe even having some sort of pattern, if you are systematic, if that would help you. And then looking at what can be cut out of your day. So you want to consider where you can make short-term exchanges, short-term sacrifices for those long-term rewards, for those freedoms that we talked about earlier. And some of those things can be stop scrolling. I know that there's some sort of, I don't know where it is, but somebody was telling me about some sort of app where, like, if you're on your phone, it will shut down that particular app. Say you're in Facebook, after 15 minutes or 10 minutes being on there of scrolling, it will shut that down. And that's just a great way to have that discipline. If that is something that you're getting caught up in, is in the scrolling or watching the stories, think about how is what you're doing serving you and serving those family goals that you have. And if they're not, then maybe think about cutting those out and seeing if you can use that time for your business. So short-term sacrifices for long-term reward. That's just a quick little snippet on the time management. I'm not going to talk a ton about mindset and emotional control, because those are things that, we could spend a whole year talking on. Those are really deep things that we individually have to have control over. And I don't think that's anything that I can say or Jordan can say or Joanna can say that's going to be like, oh, yes, now I have a great mindset. That's on you. And that's something that a lot of times you have to go through hard things and then come out looking on the other side and saying, thank you, Jesus, for allowing me to go through that. Thank you, Jesus, for allowing me to have that hard mindset, that hard situation, go through that emotional roller coaster. So that way now I can know, like, I'm done with that. This is a really beautiful, really challenging, really hard, really humbling job, because we are working with people. We're getting no's. We're getting what we feel like are rejections, like personal rejections. We're having people ghost us, and sometimes we're having hard criticism. And so I think when you go into this business knowing this is what I will encounter, this is not about me, because I know all three of our teams have hearts of gold. I know every single person on our teams have authenticity, and they have a desire and a goal to go and serve other people and to be real and authentic. Nobody wants to be salesy. And so I know that you guys are sharing from your heart. So if you can remember that too, having that mindset shift of I am going and I am inviting, and I am building belief, and I'm adding value to people, and I'm making it others focused. I'm not so consumed with myself and my goal and my rank up. I am going and I'm pouring into other people. if you're coachable, you have a strong why that's driving you, and you've linked arms with people who want to do this with you, whether it's a sideline or somebody in your downline, then I feel like at the end of the day, you're going to say, dang, today may have been really hard, but I'm so proud of myself for not giving up. Or dang, look at how amazing this day was. I'm so glad that I had that mindset shift and I continue to move forward. I'm glad that I continue to not give up. Last thing I'm going to say here is, well, I'm not even going to talk about this. Here's the thing. The people that I have seen in my observation over 4 years that who are not moving forward, and Jordan's going to talk about this in just a second too. I'm going to give you a few little characteristics that I have seen, and ask yourself, am I a victim of any of these? Are any of these things stewing in my soul? Because I'm telling you, 98% of the people that I see who are not moving forward are plagued with at least one of these. Negativity, they're ungrateful, victim mindset, letting comparison win always. That is a huge one. Maybe not coachable, not training themselves and becoming confident and comfortable in what they're doing, not training themselves and getting into action. They're not building their belief. They're not letting people in. They're kind of isolated on an island themselves. They're paralyzed with fear. They're avoiding the meat and the potatoes of their business. And they're allowing bumps and hardships in their journey to hold them back, paralyzing them with that. So I want to encourage you guys, if you are in any of those places, reach out to your upline. That's so important, so very important, because I'm going to end with this. Sarah Robbins says, there will be ups and downs in your journey. Success requires you to fail forward. Discipline your disappointments. Don't deviate from your mission, and be driven by your dream. Don't quit. You can either give up when times are tough, assuming your business isn't working for you, or you can continue to learn your own life and leadership lessons as you move ahead. You'll eventually find success as long as you do not quit and continue working. Jordan, go ahead.
Well, I just have a quick question for y'all, because, and I would love for this to be a conversation. I know what my knee-jerk reaction is when I get into a negativity victim mindset comparison mode. My knee-jerk reaction is to go seek self-worth through, I need to go add 10 so people will realize that I am good at what I do, or I go seek some sort of recognition, or, you know, I seek self-worth outside of myself because I personally don't feel good enough as I am. So I'm just curious, do you guys know what your knee-jerk reaction is when you get into that mode? Do y'all know? I would love to hear from you guys. If you want to unmute and just tell me what that looks like for you. This is a safe space, I promise.
Retail therapy.
Isolate, yeah, and isolate and compare. That's a big one. Big one is isolation. You put yourself away from everyone, just, I'm done. Yeah.
I really start overanalyzing everything and questioning my abilities and worth and what I'm doing, regardless of whether that's plexus, marriage, motherhood, life.
Mm-hmm. Most people said they start avoiding. Yeah, yep, totally. Anybody else? I want to share this really, really fast. I usually am the action girl. I feel like it's usually when we have a talk about action or recruiting or something, it's like, all right, Jordan, it's yours. But I want y'all to know something about me, okay? I'm not like a unicorn that just like is action oriented all the time. Y'all, I've gone through some really hard things in my life. I tore my ACL 3 times. I had to sit on the bench for a whole 3 seasons of volleyball to just cheer people on. I didn't get to do any of it. I was in rehab for 6 months each time. Like, you guys, that was really hard. I also watched my dad be really, really sick for almost 3 years while I lived really far away. And I had to pray every single day just so that I could like go to work and focus. So I hope y'all know that I'm not just like this person that just does action and is super disciplined because it's magical and I was born this way. This is something that mental toughness is something I have had to work at for a very long time. And it started way back in volleyball. So anyway, I wanted y'all to know that about me. So when I have gotten stuck, it usually has fallen into 3 different categories for me: comparison, pride, or management mode. I have been somewhere within those, okay? And I just wanted to give you some examples and how it made me feel and kind of the antidote to those, the actions that kind of got me out of those. So for one, whenever I started getting into that mode, like I said, my rank defined my worth. I wasn't moving fast enough or somebody ranked faster than me. Woe is me. I'm not good enough. And I would just kind of get all up in my feels. And that, I mean, y'all, your rank does not define your worth, by the way. I know that there's been points when I got into that mode where I felt like I didn't really need anyone else. I don't need to ask anyone questions. I don't care that Sarah Sue over here ranked faster than me. I definitely don't need to go ask her what she's doing because I don't care what she's doing. I'm just going to do me, stay in my lane because you know what? I don't need her. I don't need what she's doing. I'm good enough already. I'm fine. I know I've gotten into that mode. And by the way, Emily Burgess is the best example of this. Anytime someone is doing something awesome, or she sees that so-and-so ranked up, or they added 4, or they've got a system, she's always been the person to go ask those questions. So I totally learned that skill from her. Unworthiness was a really big one. I know this is probably really stupid, but maybe y'all can relate. I remember when I had just started Plexus, all of them wore these massive earrings, like all the diamonds. Yes, Emily was one of them, okay? And I was like, I have to learn to love big earrings if I'm going to be diamond. So I like started like wearing them and y'all, that is not me. The moment that I started just being me, realizing that I could be a hot mess mom wearing chacos and still be diamond, it like unlocked this authenticity and vulnerability. And I just could start being me. I could just be funny. I could just be whatever I wanted, right? I could talk about beaver glands or whatever it was that I talked about this morning on Facebook. So the comparison mode a lot of the times made me want to be someone else. Okay, I wasn't good enough. I had to go be someone else. But what unlocks that is pure authenticity and vulnerability and realizing that you are good enough. Some other things, some actionable items that have gotten me unstuck, and I know it's helped Joanna and Emily through the years too. I hope this is making sense. I have like a million pages of notes over here. So being coachable was a really, really big one. If you've ever read this book, Get Over Your DAMN Self, she gives you 4 reasons that people are not. Thank you, Andy. She gives you 4 reasons why people are not successful, and one of them is coachability. Okay, and John Maxwell in this book, I'm just going to read these because I really like them. He says this about being coachable. Let me find it really, really fast. Okay. If you are someone who feels like maybe you're not being coachable right now, this is what he says. There's 5 or 6 questions. He says, do I have the desire to continually improve? So answer yes in your head, answer yes or no. Do you have the desire to continually improve? Yes or improve, yes or no. Do I realize that I need the help of others to do so? Yes or no. Do I want to be coached by others? Do you actually want to be coached by someone? Am I willing to make the necessary changes to make the improvements that I want? Do I easily give credit to those who help me, or do I want to make it about me? Do I desire feedback and make appropriate changes and appreciate that feedback? So anyway, I really like that because it totally just takes I remember y'all meeting Megan Goff for the very first time. And I was so nervous. She was like the diamond. Okay. I was like, I have to like be awesome to even be around her. Y'all know what she did when I met her? The first thing she did was she introduced herself and she said, tell me what you're doing well. Tell me what you're doing to duplicate. teach me what you're doing. Y'all, she asked me questions and I was like, oh my gosh, at the end, I didn't ask her anything because I wanted to make sure she knew that I was good at what I did, but that didn't matter to her, right? All she wanted to know was what I was doing. So anyway, asking questions is being coachable is a big one. Power partners, something that has gotten me unstuck in the past. Guys, who's in your circle? Who are you giving your brain space to? For me, I have if you're on my team, you know this, I have a very, very limited amount of people that I allow in my brain space. Some of the jewels that I, actually do life with. Very few, like less than 10, probably less than 5 actually, that I give my time to. So who are you giving your time to? Who are you connecting with? Who are you giving brain space to? Are you doing affirmations every day? Or are you allowing yourself to tell yourself that you suck at life? Okay. If you haven't read the book, Secret Code to Success, he talks about affirmations instead of affirmations. I'm not going to go into that, but I'm just telling you it's really great. It's called Secret Code to Success by Noah St. John. Okay. I talked a little bit about authenticity and unlocking that and not trying to be someone you're not. I want to talk about management mode for a second because some of you guys maybe have never heard that phrase before. So management mode is this. It's when you are doing a lot of teaching, you're holding a lot of hands, but you are not in activity, seeing fruit in your level 1s and 2s. Okay. Management mode it feels productive. It feels good. It feels like you're doing something. Oh, I'm just coaching my team. Oh, I'm in a season where I've got to train a lot. But you guys, you're not going to see a lot of fruit from management mode. There have been times when I have fallen into that. Emily, Joanna, have y'all ever fallen into management mode? Yeah. Yeah. It happens to all of us. So it's something that you have to be really aware of. And it's something that has plagued me many a times. And sometimes, you guys, I go into management mode. I'm just gonna be honest. I go into management mode because I'm in comparison mode. Oh, I'm not recruiting anybody, but I better go coach really good. And maybe if I do like 3 lives on my team page today, maybe if I make this awesome IPA challenge for my team, people will think I'm important. Okay, does that make sense? But that is not the case. What does fulfill that and gets you out of that imposter syndrome is just what Jen Leith said. She said a leader messes up, they fail forward, and they are in the trenches. So when you feel that itch to go do the 3 lives on your team page today, I read this great book, I'm going to go teach it to my team. Before you teach it to your team, go apply it. Go do it. Go get into the activity first, and then you can go teach it. So anyway, pride, comparison, and management mode have totally sucked the joy out of my business before. And now I'm in a great space. And none of that, I kick them all to the curb every single day. And it's just way more fun. So that was mine. I'm sorry that was longer than it's supposed to be. But Joanna and Emily, do y'all have anything else to add to that?
I think that was perfect. So good. I love that. And a leader is going to lead by example. And so when you're doing it, you're so much better able to lead because then you can show like you did it and you sent a message, you got great feedback. So you can be like, okay, this is what I said. Like it's so much more fun. Okay, so we're going to chat a little bit about team culture and then end it with a Q&A. So I have a few quotes to start off this portion that I love. The first one, it's by Napoleon Hill. It says it is literally true that you can succeed best and quickest by helping others to succeed. And the other one is you need to be aware of what others are doing, applaud their efforts, acknowledge their successes, and encourage them in their pursuits. When we all help one another, everybody wins. I love that. So team culture, you guys, is so key with what we do in hitting your goals as a leader. Add value and value people. I love that. It's such a good reminder. And culture, I mean, it's simple. It's not always easy, but it's you as the leader. And so like what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're talking to your team, what you're doing for your team, how you're pouring into your team, like that's going to be the culture of your team. And so it starts with you. And so how like you're showing up and what you're doing for your team. And So just a few things, like some few action things. I mean, so it's pretty simple. I don't have a lot to say about this because like you heard the quotes, which I love. And the more you pour into your team, the more you care about their goals, helping them, like that's going to help you hit their goals. And so turning around, making it about them is so important. And a few action steps that you can take to help develop better culture in your team. Or I feel like a lot of us have great culture, but to keep doing and to keep working at it and to keep getting better at it so you don't get into a place of bad culture on your team. But this is something that I'm really, really, that I take seriously is incentives for my team, because I want to show them how much I appreciate them and I love them and appreciate them doing this with me and working with me. And I think doing fun incentives is a huge part of that. And it doesn't have to be big, it depends on like your budget. You don't feel like you have to give away $100 cash prize every week, or it depends on your budget. Seriously, when I get a $5 coffee gift card, like I feel like I'm just like, oh my goodness, like it's the sweetest thing. Like it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It can be a note in the mail. It can be a pair of fun earrings. And it doesn't have to be expensive to matter. A lot of times it's the little things that you feel like aren't going to matter, so you don't do it, that would have mattered the most. And so doing fun things for your team, so they know that you care. And I always say too, like you have to spend money to make money. It's so important to pour and invest into your team. That's just how it is in anything, in any business you see, they spend money to make money. And so a lot of times I usually will invest about 10% of my paycheck back into my business somehow, some way, either with incentives and things and gifts, things like that. A few other things are if you have people that are local, like you have a team nearby, or maybe even a few hours away. Katie is, I don't see her on here. I know she had a team thing tonight, but she's really good at doing this. She has a few people that are a couple hours away and they'll meet up for like coffee, IPA power hours and things. So getting together local as much as possible, if you can, really helps create that culture. It's so much fun. Like working together in person is so much fun, and it's not the same as on Zoom. Zoom is great, but if you can get in person, do that. Maybe
Joanna, that also happens at events, you guys. Culture is created and developed at events. So get your butt to convention.
What she said, yes. So, or even having just a little, like you can have next time there's like a team training going on a Zoom, if you have local team, like get together with them and do it with them together on the Zoom. So there's a lot of different ways you can, get together, but that's a huge part too. Recognition is another thing. Like you cannot shout people out enough. Like it is one of the number one things. I feel like it's something we all can do better at. And little tiny things, you guys are, well, they're not really tiny, but we might think, oh, that's not a big deal. So, they didn't actually sign someone up, so I'm not going to shout them out. Well, it's not about, the most important thing is the action that they're doing to sign those people up. So shout that out and celebrate them in anything. So recognition is so important. Like recognition to me is one of the number one things that I feel like a leader should be doing. And if you're not doing it every day, somehow, it doesn't even have to be a big thing. You can do it in your stories. I think we talked about this a little bit before, but recognition is key. That's another action you can do. We talked about the gifts, the incentives, your threads. Like if you have a team chat, just being positive and uplifting and encouraging and, sending a video that you loved, you listened to it, you learned from it, sending that over, like just things like that. And, or like today, a girl on our team, she did an awesome post. It was so good. So I just hopped in, she wasn't in my thread, but she was in a downline's thread. So I just hopped in there and I was like, oh my goodness, like your post was so good. Like, that's it. Like it took me 10 seconds. So things like that, your team thread, and that's the thread, but that also goes with the recognition part. And yeah, that's about it, you guys. There's all kinds of different things that you can do that can create the culture, but the most important thing is just doing something. So just every day, just working at it, working on yourself, working at being a better you so that you can better pour into your team, filling your cup so you can fill and pour into your team. So
and I was going to say too, if you're at a place where like you don't have anybody that's doing the business and you're hearing all these ideas from Joanna and you're like, okay, this is great, but I don't have a single person that's really interested in the business right now. Well, guess what? Like every single person has been in that place. And so it's just trial and error, you know, like you try things out. I don't even know how many different threads I started with people that I thought may be interested. Maybe somebody did a post. You just kind of have to play around with things. And I would say this too, as far as the recognition piece and like pouring into your people, if you don't have anybody doing the business right now, that's fine. Shift into a really intentional customer care focus. And you can do that. Like Joanna was saying, send a card. When we talked about this last month with the retention, send a card to your people that are joined on your team. And they may not be interested right now in the business, but they're going to have that relationship with you. They're going to appreciate that extra step. And everything that you are doing right now is duplicating down to your future team. So I just want to encourage you in that. I don't want you to have it in one ear out the other because you don't have a team right now. You just start trying, start doing little fun things, trial and error, and it's going to continue to move forward for you.
I was going to say one thing. I said it in the comments, but the culture on your team totally starts with who you're recruiting, you guys. If you are just recruiting people that are coming to you, that's great. But one of the awesome parts of what we get to do is we get to choose who we work with. And I want to choose Jesus people who love hard work, who are fun, who value the same things I value. And so culture really does start with who are you recruiting? And that's why I love leading with the business in cold messages, because I want to choose that. Like, I want that. So anyway, I was going to add that. Do y'all want to do some Q&A? Joanna, Emily, maybe 10 minutes or less?
Yeah.
Okay, 10 minutes or less. If y'all have questions on any of that, please ask or forever hold your peace. Or comments.
I know that I kind of talked a little bit about this, about when you first start out, and you are working all the time and you may not be seeing a ton of income yet. Don't stop. Don't stop. That's just part of it. You are building that residual income. Trust the process, trust the leaders, know that this opportunity, literally, like, I don't know why everybody and their brothers don't do it. Like, now being here 4 years later, I am so freaking proud of myself and so proud of my team that has not stopped. So don't stop. Trust the process.
I'm going to answer one of these questions really quick about recruiting business builders. I'm just going to tell you how I recruited some of my leaders on my team. One of my emeralds I met on a Facebook group. I connected with her. We became friends. I asked her right out of the gate if she wanted information about Plexus because I saw she was looking for something to do from home. She said, no, thank you. And I still built a friendship with her. Later found out our kids had the same name. Her first name is my middle name. Our husbands had the same birthday. So we became actual friends. So I made friends. Okay. So that's one way. One of the leaders on my team is somebody I played junior high volleyball with. Literally was one of my very first cold messages. Messaged her about 8-10 times, invited her like 5 events. Callie Bale's probably on here laughing. So there's that. Asking for referrals is really, really great way too. Chandler was a referral from my sister. She came to an event that we did. She scared me to death and I thought she was never ever going to join, but I stuck with her like white on rice. And then she was on the product for almost like 6 months. Happy customer. Y'all, your happy customers make the best ambassadors. She was a happy wholesale ambassador. I asked her to share about 25,000 times and she said, no, thank you, until the timing was right. So timing, sticking with it, getting people loving their products. I know there's a million others, but y'all, it's just timing and loving on people and being intentional and not stopping and doing it again.
And good customer care, because a lot of my main business builders all started because they wanted the products, but the good customer care is so important because now like they're in amazing business builders when they didn't join for that. So that. And
I've had a lot of business builders join me because of posts That's really, really important. There was a girl on our team call the other day that she said posting and messaging are like a marriage. You can't have one without the other. And so when you're posting, you're adding that credibility. And we've talked about this before, even if you're brand new and you've not made a penny, you've got Joanna, you've got Jordan, you've got myself, you've got Abby, you've got Katie, you've got Marissa, you have all these people who have stories of financial blessing that you get to share. And so posting is how Kara Carrington came to me. That was a huge prayer. Same with Carrie Compton. And so I think building that belief too, and being bold and sharing how the business has blessed you and your friends.
Susan was saying, what is our favorite IPA sheet? Like, I think, like, for me, I don't really necessarily have like a favorite one. I think Jordan has one that's her favorite, but my thing is, like, if I get in my top 5 non-negotiables, I write it on a notebook. I don't print them out because I don't have a printer, but me, I don't necessarily have like an IPA sheet always. I just recreate it on a notebook. And as long as I get like my reach outs, my follow-ups, post, do my stories, and do some customer care, I feel like that's like the most important. But then just, I write it down on, like, I like to write it down in a notebook or put it in the notes of my phone. So I don't really have a favorite, but that's the way I do it.
I'm just curious, who joined their sponsor because you saw a post about the business? Anybody else? I can't see hands. Or can you like comment me or something in the comments if you joined because you saw a business post? I saw Jessica Heffley get her Lexus, and I was like, who joined on here because your sponsor cold messaged you? If you say me in the comments. I'm just looking at these. Are y'all reading these comments? Are y'all seeing this? Yeah. Okay. That was all. Just wanted to show y'all. Any other questions?
We would love for these future calls to really fill your soul, continue to fill your soul, and help in areas that you guys may be struggling, or areas where you see some of your leaders struggling. So please feel free to message Jordan, Joanna, or myself privately with some ideas. We have a whole slew of ideas that we want to continue to pour into you. But if you have specific requests, please let us know. And just remember, this will be the first Thursday of every month, and we will see so many of you in Scottsdale in what, a month and a half?
Yes, I'm so excited.
We've got Jordan's Diamond Dock next week. All sorts of amazing things. Can't wait. I think we're good. Are we good here?
I have one more question. Sorry. I always come up with the time, what you were talking about, like getting the right thing done, not necessarily more things. Who did that come from?
But like a quote. Oh, the productivity leads to freedom.
Yeah.
That one. That was Michael Hyatt.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Is he like, does he have books or podcasts, or what is?
Both.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did y'all notice something, by the way? Everything we say, like, we have like 8 books in front of us when we do these calls. I don't know if y'all noticed that or not, but that's like a big hint right there.
Oh, I am excited to show you guys. Oh gosh, my desk is moving. I don't know what's happening, but if you guys have ever seen this, I'm excited. Do you have that one too?
That's what I was reading out of tonight.
Okay, so this one, you guys, I've not read it yet. This one's called The Power of 5 for Network Marketing by John Maxwell. So this is like a specific network marketing book from the man, the myth, the legend, John Maxwell. I will put the link in all 3 of our threads because I think you can only buy it through a certain link. I'm excited to read this.
Maybe we need to make a book study out of this next month or the next month or something. Just an idea. It's really good, you guys. Okay. We are shutting up now. Thank y'all for doing this with us. If again, send us your ideas if you have things that you really want to hear on these calls. But we love y'all. Hope you have a really, really great week.